Hi, everyone. Fran Strickland here with Tapped In with Vera Lee Biz Solutions, and I'm with the lovely Tonia Tyler, now a friend for the ages. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this episode where we're really focusing on helping owners and entrepreneurs and CXOs continue to grow and evolve both professionally and personally. So we cover a variety of topics, all designed to help people really, be their authentic selves and, have life and enjoy life to the fullest. And so, as I said, we have the lovely Tanya Tyler. Yes, okay, I'm saying she's lovely, but this woman is a true professional, and I am so excited to have her with us today. So Tanya, welcome back to Tapped In with Vera Lee Biz Solutions. How have you been?
I'm doing fantastic. It's a pleasure to be here, Miss Fran. I love what you're doing, and I am so proud that you invited me back. So, yes, I'm happy to be here. It's an honor.
Well, it's an honor to have you back. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you a little bit about Tanya and my history. Back when I was hiding and I didn't want to be seen on any kind of media outside of pictures in my photo album, Tanya had me on her podcast, and it was so enjoyable because she is a true professional and she helps other people learn how to do podcasts the right way. I got the idea that I would have her on my very first podcast. And I was learning, and she allowed me to cut my teeth on her, and she was so gracious. But thank goodness she also was a true friend because she's stuck with me. She's helped me grow and evolve in terms of my self-confidence and comfort with being present and being seen. And so I wanted to have her back because believe me, she is a fireball, and she's done so many things since that very first time that she graced my platform with her presence. And so it's time to catch up and find out where she is today. So now, Tonya, I don't want to talk anymore. I want you to tell people what has been going on since that time that we spent laughing about the fact that I think I never really got you on screen.
Well, since then, first of all, again, I want to say thank you so much. Your wisdom that you share with our network and event is priceless. And so, again, it was an honor to be here. As Fran mentioned, yes, I did cut my teeth on podcasting. I don't necessarily say I did it the right way. I just did what I needed to do and how I did it back in 2020 when I first started. And I did coffee with tea for 4 years, and that was what led us up into connecting with Miss Fran. So I always want to say there's no right or wrong way to do a podcast. I just figure out you have to be comfortable in your method. But since then, answer your question, I did have to take a pause break. My father had passed away, and it was a little bit too much trying to run the podcast and everything like that. So I did go on, I would say hiatus. I guess that's what you would call it. But I'm looking to bring the podcast back in 2026. The actual conversational portion of it, the coffee with tea part, because we're still on YouTube. There's people still finding content. Because I always think conversations to me have always been a spark of creativity, and so just learning to listen to what people are saying that's really what my heart is. And so fast forward, this past year has been about healing. I did get into doing some pet care services, and I got to travel and do some house sitting, so that's been fun, wonderful, which I'm still continuing to do that. But it actually helped me with a pause break, stepping back and figuring out strategically, as we always say, how do I want to continue and how to move forward. So that's where I am right now. So I am blogging. I still have my blog. I've been blogging since off and on since 2024 or 2014. Finding myself, my method, message, my voice is still coming back slowly. And so that's where I am right now. I'm just slowly getting back into the grind because I just know I don't want to jump all the way back in and not. My mom would always just say, make it sustainable.
Hmm.
So I don't just I jump in. I do. People know me. Know I will jump in, but I will jump in when I know I have the time. And so that's where I am. I am. Yeah, the military taught me go all in, but have an exit strategy if an off ramp if you need to. And a lot of times I don't.
Hmm.
So that's where
Hmm.
I am, Miss Fran. I'm back. I'm feeling good. Um, the grieving process was enough, and I'm really feeling motivated.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I was really sorry to hear about the loss of your father. I've been through that on my side, so I know that it's a process, and you have to do it in your own timing. And I'm happy to hear that you're progressing, and doing it at your own pace. That's what matters most. And I'm really happy that I could be part of that journey too, and support you.
Thank you.
So now you talked about the military. I want to call this out, folks, because you get taught how to lead for sure. But as Tonya so wisely told me, you have to evolve yourself. But I've had the privilege of being with her in venues where she's taught leadership. Tony, I want you to tell me a little bit about your military experience. How did it, in what ways did it cause you to evolve in that experience? And then how has it influenced you today?
Oh, that's that's a lot to unpack, but I'll give you as best of like where I am today and reflecting on where I am with the leadership. First of all, I always say the military packed so much leadership skills in me that I don't even know that I can't even separate myself. You know, when I left the military, I was like, I'm done with the military. I'm not doing it. But there was so much ingrained in me on how to lead people that you can't not separate it from yourself, right?
Mm-hmm.
So as I am involved in everything that I do, I say I have struggled with I'm not a coach, but then I'm like I'm coaching people. I can't not help it, right?
All right.
So the titles are my struggle, but that's a whole other story. So but leadership lives within me and what the military taught me, and like I said, a little bit of what my mom always said, make it sustainable. So how do we move people along? Because in the military they would always say you never leave a fallen comrade. You know, so if you come across somebody, you never leave them where they're at. And that
Mm-hmm.
was something that's always stuck in my mind. It's like no matter who I come across, they're always in their own journey, they're always in their own way, but we always have a mission to do. So how do we move them along to be able to do whatever they need to do? You know, whatever their task may be. It could be like for instance, we'll use you. You're a wisdom, you're a wealth of wisdom when it comes. And I picked up on the whole prophet thing. But at the end of the day, at the beginning, you were like, I'm gonna hide. I'm like, well, why are you gonna hide? People need to see. But this was not just a reflection of you. This is a reflection of myself. If we're calling ourselves CEOs and all these things that are business owners, why are we hiding? Why are we hiding ourselves? So that was a part of reflection that I had to realize. Like, okay, so how can I help somebody be seen? First of all, the podcast helped because I had to find my own voice. So once I find my voice, I can help other people find their voice, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like how you do one thing is how you do everything. And like I said, it's always been great. I don't even know I speak in leadership unless somebody says you're talking leadership, right? Because it's always it's in it. And so I just realized that I sat down and actually started as we say, I took my place as to where it is. There's different kind of leadership styles. When I was in the military, I shared this little story, and I was kind of a little salty when they did it. But I had soldiers. I would range from anywhere from maybe 2 soldiers to up to 14 at some points, depending on where I was at. But I could always get my soldiers to do whatever I needed to get done. If it was cleaning a room, we get it done. But my NCOs, my non-commissioned officers, the people over me, they didn't like the way I did it. And so they were like, you need to go to assertiveness class. And I'm like, what? Is there a class for this? So they sent me to assertiveness class because they told me that I wasn't projecting it in the way that they thought a leader should talk, or I wasn't doing it in the tone that they wanted me to do it. And I was mad, but then I started thinking a leader has to reflect in however way they move the soldiers. So I know how to build rapport and rapport with my soldiers. They know they can come to talk to me, tell me their issues, and so when I listen, then I know how to motivate them. And so that's something that I have learned that over the years after the military, because you said we leadership is something, but evolving is a choice. And so once I
Mhm.
learned that that's also who I am, because not only did I know the skill, but if I know the skill, then I can teach it to others. So I've been doing it my whole life. I just didn't know it. And then not doing it in the way that other people think it's appropriate. I was like, as long as I get it done, it don't matter. So I don't know if I answered that question because, like I said, it's something that's so ingrained in me, I can't even tell the difference.
Hmm. Well, first of all, this whole thing about something being such a part of you that you can't tell the difference, I kind of like that because I think people get into their authentic selves. In fact, when I first started my business, I focused on leadership and organization, but leadership in particularly because I saw so many leaders who didn't lead from their center. They were more caught up in what the layers above them were saying, and they had not yet learned how to process their unique perspectives and their needs and put it in a context to help motivate them and move themselves forward, to show up for their teams, to inspire, to be able to inspire their teams. And listening to what you said, I mean, authenticity is the core. And what I hear you saying is that you had a period of time where you were getting the development as a leader, but someone was trying to say, do it this way, and you chose to do it your authentic self. It's much easier, in my humble opinion, it's much more productive to start from your authentic self than to start from being someone else. I mean, someone else is already taken, so now you got two of you trying to, one's pretending and one is real. It's better to be the real deal, if you will.
Right.
But you packed so much into that. I mean, I was trying to say now, what do I want to walk away from that conversation? I would say what I would say anybody wants to walk away with is that personal ownership for their evolution and to be okay with having their own voice. And for sure, that thing about saying, and we all say we love to put CEO, on our businesses, whether we got a half a person or no person, we like to say that, but that carries some real power and some expectation of influencing and being seen. And what that tells me, based upon what you just shared, it really is an inside job to draw from everything that maybe be around you or within you to come out and to be visible and to be present.
Right.
As someone who is kind of like at the front of the class saying, "Follow me."
Here's the thing I wanted to leave with that because, like you said, it's like what you're saying is, and people have to take their own level of whatever ownership it means for them, right? But it was like one of those insight that I remember drawing upon is like, if you're going to claim this title, and we talked about titles a lot, if you're going to claim this title, what does that title mean? And not necessarily doesn't mean that it has to be your way. Like I said, we talked about leadership, and one person's idea of what a leader is could be that way. It's just like the word success. What does success mean to you? What does leadership mean to you? What does CEO mean to you? Examine these words and
Mm.
actually break it down and figure out what works best for you. Because to me, and I'll say, I'm not a bossy, well, yeah, I guess you can say I can be bossy. I can
Don't be
own it.
tell that, that's right.
I
Own it,
can
own
I
it,
can be
own it,
bossy.
own it.
I own it. Yes, I can be bossy. I can be controlling, but I know these things about me, right? So
Hmm.
when I feel like it's coming up, I take a step back because I'm also looking at the person and thinking, I don't know the whole story. I don't know why they're acting out the thing. I don't know why they're not taking action on this. I don't know the story, the back end behind what they're doing it. But if I can step back and say, okay, this is not about doing it my way. I need to step back and strategically think out, how can I get you motivated to hit the things that your goal is, right? It's not my goal. I mean, yes, in the military was different. We all had a mission. We all understood the mission. But at the end of the day, I need to know what's your entrenched motivation to get you to do what I need to do. And to me, that reflected a lot of our leadership skills because, again, I know what motivates me. I have to step back and figure out it's not about me. I got to get you to buy in. I need
Hmm.
you to say, I'm in there with you. At the time, Sergeant Tyler, I'm with you. So
Hmm.
how do we do that? And that's a constant question that I'm always replaying in the back of my mind. How can I get you to do what you said you need to do so we can accomplish this mission together?
Right, right. And that's so key, because sometimes we get it mixed up, as the leaders. We think, well, we put that plan out, it's my plan, and I want you to do it my way. Like I said, it's not like, it's not putting milestones out there. Or what I say is a frame that, yeah, we have some accountability to lay out for people, the checkpoints, the things that's important for us to know about and to zero in on. But that's not everything, right? That's not
Mm-hmm.
everything. That's not everything. So, okay, guys, listen, we just got coached in leadership. When someone says that it's part of their DNA, who they are, we just got an example of that. Once you've adopted and you made something your own, it's going to be there. And that's what I love about Tonya. She can, in that moment. I mean, I've been in our mastermind, and someone will come up and she'll just drop that truth bomb, and you'll say, okay, yeah, I get it. because because first of all, the reality is, yes, the capability is there, but it's the heart. If one doesn't have a heart to serve, it does not come out. It will not come out. And even when we're running our businesses, either we are serving our clients, if we have a team, we serve our team, or we might have other stakeholders, we may have investors, all of those to some extent we are serving. And guess what? We also need to show up as who we are, and not whom we think people think that we should be at the end of the
Mm-hmm.
day.
Oh
At the
yeah.
end of the day.
Yeah,
So,
and it's one thing I wanted to add too. I had these things. I write down these checkpoints, right?
sure.
I had these moments, right? And you always talk about authenticity and who you are. And I guess, like I said, it's evolving is being okay with the good parts of yourself and the ugly
Hmm.
parts of yourself because we're
Hmm.
human, right? And I didn't understand the whole meaning of leadership and our checkpoints and stuff like that until I could take the ugly parts of myself. So when you
Mm.
said I'm bossy, you said own it. Yeah, I own it. I will own it. Yes, I am bossy. I am controlling. I can be manipulated, but I know when to use it, and we can reframe it however you want. But at the end of the day, all of these things, as we mentioned, are were never wasted. All of your experiences, all the stuff you did, is never wasted. All of it is a learning tool that you can reflect back.
Mhm.
How we did the podcast the first time was a learning tool. Everything that we did in the beginning, it's always a learning tool. And so I always look, I never say there's a right way or wrong way. There's a learning point here. And so that's why I always say the checkpoint is, what did you learn? If you didn't learn anything, then you think you're above all this stuff. And so that's a reflection of who you are. Because there's always, people are always reflecting back something for you to learn, even as a leader. So that's why I always say there are checkpoints. People are your checkpoints, because they're like, girl, you difficult. I'm like, well, let's not label that. Or yes, I am being difficult, but own it. Own it.
Well, I had this great experience just yesterday where I went to a horse. I'm going to say equine coaching session where working with horses we learn about leadership. And you were talking about, people are at checkpoint. That's right, because what'll happen is we'll see the chaos. We will see the chaos that erupts when we fail to show up, we have the presence and have it, quite frankly, the gravitas to inspire people. I love that word. I had a boss that used that. Caught it from my boss. So see, you learn from people. But the reality is that it's but once again, it's not. I mean, gravitas doesn't come off the top of your head. It comes from something that builds up from, I say, from your feet up. And it comes from confidence. It comes from clarity. It comes, with integrity, with your belief system. It's all of those things that make you you. And when that's not clear or you're unstable about it, it's very difficult to get people to follow you. And the horse won't follow you. In fact, I had a horse, he had a nice horse name. You know how they make those creative names. But I would just have to say that he was Billy Bob, because Billy Bob was quite bold and quite extroverted. And he would grin, and then he would just, he would stay, and I would be saying, come on, come on. And because I was tentative, he could feel that coming from me. But then I said, no, I'm in charge. And so I just started walking, and then he said, okay, well, I'll come along. But then he also say, well, I'm going to invade your space. But these are some things that I learned about the horse, is that the horse opens up for the leader. They
Mm,
don't
mm.
crowd around the lead horse, but they will follow who has a good idea. But that's not how evolved humans are. We like structure, and we want somebody to lead us. So when you talk about the fact that they are our checkpoint, people are our checkpoint, yes, they are. And you will see the evidence of leadership or lack thereof every step of the way.
Oh yeah. Yes. And I want to add, because you talked about the horses, and I just have to say, let me plug in how I learned about the pet sitting, because I have to go in the same thing I did with dogs.
Right.
And so sometimes I have to go into a house that I've never really met the dog. So I sit there, and there people are like, oh, the dog is so friendly. Yeah, but the dog has teeth. So as long as they got teeth, they can bite. So I'll go in there, and I have to realize it's like a balance of how I'm going to work with this, because if I go in there and I'm feeling like I own, their home. They're protecting their home. So when I go into their house, I don't want to go in there. Yes, I'm confident, but at the same time, I got to go in respectfully. And I think sometimes when we lead people, and it's just me, we forget that there are people, they deserve respect as well. They may, whatever level they're at their understanding, they deserve the level of respect, because we don't know what motivated them. They don't know their dreams. And so one thing, and we're taking it back to the military. The military told us all day long, get to know your people. Know your people, and then you'll know how to motivate them. And so it always goes back to, I don't go in there. I respect when I go into a house I don't know what I haven't done. I get to their level. I let them sniff me till they get comfortable. And then by the time they get comfortable and I see that little tail wagging, I know I'm in there. But at the end of the time, I had to go on a low level. And it doesn't necessarily mean I just get low to their, their eye level or whatever, till they're comfortable with me. I don't go in there, I'm the, I'm gonna lead you out. But at sometimes, because I know you can bite, people can bite, people can bite.
Right.
These are all metaphors. People
Right.
will bite you if they don't feel like you're respecting them. And so, how you do anything is how you do everything.
Right. Absolutely. And that thing about being bit, I remember coaching new leaders, and I used to draw a box, four sides, just a square on a paper, and I would put arrows. I put an arrow up, arrow out to the side, and an arrow down. And I said, the arrow up is to your bosses, and then the arrow to the side is for your peers, and the arrow down is to your team. And I said, those arrows can be different length. A long arrow meaning that you're really, really spending a lot of time trying to please those people, right? And a lot of times, because you're swimming in the same soup, your peers, your arrows are kind of short because you're being kind of competitive. And then we're so busy trying to please the arrow above, which of course, yeah, you do have to respect the directors and things you have. That the arrow to the people is about this long. But I said, when you get in trouble with the arrow up to the top, many times the people who save you are the arrows to the side and the arrows below you,
Mm-hmm.
because the arrows to the side catch you as you're going through the hole, and the people and the arrows below you, when you hit, you kind of hit a cushion. And when people can rise up and they can support you. And that happened to me in my early leadership career, where a woman just one day got out, she walked off she said, I need to go see the our production superintendent. And I said, oh, well, this is it. And I was like saying, well, I guess I won't have a job when the day is done. And she we didn't stand in the way. You could go see anybody. We had an open door policy. And so she said, I want to go see the superintendent. I said, sure, absolutely. And I went in and I said, let me get my box. And so, I didn't hear anything. A week passed, 2 weeks passed, and then one night I was on third shift, and they came in and said, Fran, we want you to stay here on third shift. You're going to stay here in the plant, because we had electrochemical processing and we couldn't leave the tanks. And they said, send everybody to the cafeteria with coats and jackets. And they had a complete layoff of the third shift. And I was the only person in that big old plant. I'm glad that I was not scared. But I walked that plant the whole night. But here's the thing. What had transpired is this woman had indeed gone and talked to the superintendent, but she had also been witness to some real underhanded things and activities that people had been doing, actually literally to sabotage my leadership. And she had been witness, and I didn't know this. I saw her 5 years later. She stopped me in the street. She said, I had sat there and I witnessed what was happening. I heard what was happening, and I just could not handle it anymore. And that's what I mean by that. Many times it's the people that's below us is the one that catches us and buoy us. And as you say, they will bite, but when you treat them with respect and consistent respect, not because you want something, but it's just the way you treat people, it can make a huge difference. It can make a huge difference. So now, Tanya, here we are. Do you know that we have talked almost 30 minutes and we've talked about leadership? You know? So, folks, then what we found out is where Tanya is in her sweet spot. She is taking who she is. She has she has taken it to new levels and new applications. I know she has. I wanted to ask her about this confident strides, folks, because this is something else that she does. So, Tony, just give me a few words about confident strides. You know, what has motivated you to do it? What's that sweet spot? And then we'll start wrapping up.
Well, thank you. Confidence Strides actually was given to me years ago. I was on a walk and I was like asking the universe because I get a lot of my insight. And I was like, Lord, if I was ever a business at the time was a coach, if I was a coach, what would be the name of my business? And the universe came back and said Confidence Strides. So I've used that name on multiple things. It's now really grabbed a hold because it's the community. I use it. I mentioned my blog, so Sweet and Social is the blog because I used to write, but I didn't want people to really know that was me because that's like reflection, like that kind of stuff. So I was like, I don't know if anybody's gonna listen to it. So eventually I figured out Confidence Strides is the name, but it's like an overall umbrella of everything. And it's really, as we're going forward, it really pushes growth in motion. So that's where you're going to see confidence rise and growth and motion a lot more together because to me, I think that's how we move and that's how we grow.
Mm. And you see, like we say, I see you. We're like connected on that. It's about growth and evolution and continuing to evolve and be our best self. So thank you so much, Tanya. So here we go. We got to wrap up. I could talk to you all day, and then I wouldn't have any viewers. But I, how can people, if people want to just connect with you for whatever reason, how can they do that?
Well, thank you, Miss Fran. First of all, I'm starting to really grow on my on my LinkedIn. And I know we're on LinkedIn, so if you're over here on LinkedIn, you can find me under Confident Strides, and I'll throw that Confident Strides. We do have a newsletter over there. We're growing. I have a community group over there you can connect with, and that's my best would say is follow me over there, connect with me on Confidence Strides because that's where all the insight's going to come from. Because I'm creating. Look at this! I'm creating an ecosystem. So that's the best way to connect. And I was like, this is all coming from my walks and stuff like that. So I share all of that in the newsletters and stuff like that. So thank you, Miss Fran. It's been a pleasure. I love this stuff. That's
Oh,
how I'm glad I've got a chance to talk to you.
well, I'm glad that we had a chance to talk, and I really appreciate this time with you. Yeah, this is nothing like the first time, but I'm glad that it's not. And I'm really glad that we've been able to build a relationship and stay connected and see both of us grow in different ways. And so, folks, I really hope that you found this time to be really enlightening in different ways. And this is not necessarily about having a lightning bolt come and say boom, and it's like I never heard that. But the reality is there are a lot of sparks, and I've learned so much from my guests, and Tonya, exactly from a leadership perspective, has been so helpful and encouraging. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, thank you, Tanya, for being with us.
Thank you for the opportunity.
I can't wait to see you at the next curve because I know I'll see you later this week. And for all the folks who are tuning in to this hour, tapped in with Verily Biz Solutions, I hope you have a fantastic day and that you walk away with some nuggets that's going to make a difference for you. Thank you and see you soon.